Hi, I'm a Sonic fan, and as a Sonic fan, I have the ability to tell that this is Sonic. I can also tell that this is also Sonic. There are two stylistically different takes on the same character, and at the end of the day, that's all it needs to be. But, to continue the video with me, you'll need to solve my riddles 3. 1. Why are classic and modern Sonic treated like completely different entities? You'll have to excuse me if I end up getting a little bit heated throughout the course of this video. It just might be a thing that ends up happening because I feel pretty passionate about the subject. Back in the old Sega Genesis days when Sonic made his big debut, this was the look he sported. Sure, there are some differences between his western and eastern looks, but this was the general design and they made it work. Mans was stylish, he had edge, and was the dude with just the right amount of attitude. All this was done to contrast that damn plumber who practically had the entire gaming industry wrapped around his finger at the time, and I think he was successful in doing that. For once, there was someone gunning for Mario's spot and proving to be a threat in doing so, and I just find it admirably cool that out of anyone, our boy Sonic was the one to prove to everyone that Mario was not an invincible juggernaut, and the appeal and edge in Sonic's design that personified the inner cool kid in many in the 90s was a huge factor in that. So when it came time for Sonic to sport a new design for his first true mainline 3D outing, they leaned all the more into the traits of his previous design, and the results were BAM! Look at him. His eyes are green now. This makes him cooler now, right? Jokes aside, this design goes hard, especially in Yuji Uekawa's striking the art style. Here, we have an edgier, linkier, and more expressive Sonic. If you ask me, I still think this is the most dynamic Sonic we have ever had design-wise. After all, he can do stunts and poses like this. Ones literally no other video game character or any character in all of fiction would look right doing without converting to the art style themselves, and even then, you can tell something isn't right. If Sonic was sitting at the cool kids table before, then with this design, he's sitting at the big kids cool table or something like that. But both these designs were simply considered Sonic. Just Sonic. There was no drawn line distinguishing the two from one another, it was just Sonic before and Sonic now. Essentially, just alternative art styles. So where did it all go wrong? About 12 years ago with Sonic Generations. Wait, Sonic Generations is 12 years old? Oh, Sonic Generations is 12 years old. In the marketing of Sonic Generations, so even before the game was out, it was noted that there was to be a difference between the two Sonic designs. The Sonic from older times was appropriately titled Classic Sonic, and the redesign we got with Sonic Adventure was dubbed Modern Sonic. Now, let it be known that I don't think this is inherently an issue. I grew up with Generations, so I would have been too young and dumb to get mad at it at the time. I just thought it was cool, and it was, and could have continued to be too, but you could say I was forced to think otherwise. Get it? It's time we talk about Sonic Forces. Summer 2017. We open on a dark and grim setting, the tone being set the moment we see the Sonic Team logo. Smoke, fire.
Eggman's robots!
Eggman appears to be reigning supreme. Well, where is Sonic, we all start to wonder. How did things get like this? Oh, there he is, listening to the condemned cries of his people, but once he's had his fill of that, he rushes into action prepared to do his thing, until some debris somehow proves to be a threat to him. Like, come on, dude, we know you're not in danger. We all know you can homing attack that at the very least. But apparently, even heroes need help. From themselves! See, if Classic Sonic could handle that without any issue, there is no excuse as to why Modern Sonic couldn't. Like, come on, seriously? Seeing Classic Sonic appear in this trailer was honestly a welcome sight at the time. The last time we saw him was in Sonic Generations, and that was overall a quality game, so this one might be quality too, with it being some sort of sequel. Oh, a visitor! Who could that be? Yeah, that checks out. So, it turned out that Sonic Project 2017 was not a sequel to Sonic Generations, but rather its own game, Sonic Forces. So why is Classic here?
Wait, what? Oh, you're that Sonic from another dimension, aren't you?
What? No, that doesn't add up. Generations made it pretty clear that this was Sonic just from the past. It's even directly alluded to in certain quotes from the game.
Hey Sonic! Enjoy your future! It's gonna be great!
Let's just say this one in particular is highly debatable. So apparently, Classic Sonic and Forces is the same Sonic from Sonic Mania, the better game released earlier in the same year. At the true ending of that game, Sonic is seen warping and we don't find out where until... So this Sonic is from the alternate dimension where Sonic Mania takes place after the events of Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and I fail to understand how that still doesn't just make him past Sonic, especially because Tails in this cutscene would have no means of knowing that unless he was able to recall the events of Sonic Mania, which apparently takes place in the past within another dimension, which I doubt he does, because if he did, then why wouldn't Sonic? It's a mess. I wasn't even intending to go on about this, it just kind of sorta happened. At the bottom line, I just feel this was a lazy means of further distinguishing classic and modern Sonic as different entities when that wasn't really something anyone was asking for to begin with. Now this isn't just past Sonic, this is alternate dimension Sonic. Two-dimensional Sonic, if you will. That joke makes a lot more sense ignoring a number of 3D Sonic games. Ever since Forces, it really has felt like we've crossed a threshold of sorts. There was once a time where Sega and Sonic Team treated Sonic's classic and modern designs as two sides of the same coin. Hell, they even used to market classic Sonic games and products with modern Sonic character designs at the forefront of the marketing. They were once interchangeable, one and the same, but nowadays it's like they want to treat them as different characters. Now, I don't inherently take issue with this. I used to think it was cool to have that distinction between the two when I was a kid playing Sonic Generations, but the longer this goes on, the more limiting it becomes, and I feel like we're nearing a breaking point of some sort. I remember a couple years ago, there were rumors floating around about a new 2D Sonic game, and I, alongside others, took this as a sign of maybe another modern 2D game in the works, something along the likes of the Sonic Advance or Rush series. The rumors on that 2D Sonic game turned out to be true, but the way we interpreted them, not so much. During the Summer Games Fest of 2023, that 2D Sonic game would be announced to be Sonic Superstars. This was it. The new 2D Sonic game we were anticipating. Or was it? I remember the discussion surrounding the announcement of Sonic Superstars centering the man himself, Classic Sonic. And I gotta say, this was not the response I was expecting. Discussion entailing whether or not Classic Sonic should stay or be left behind altogether. While I was personally not completely hyped or sold by Superstars, the divide between Classic and Modern Sonic wasn't as apparent to me at the time, so it wasn't the fact that it was just another Classic Sonic game that lessened my anticipation, what just happened to my tongue there. I was meaning to say that it wasn't the fact that it was another classic Sonic style game that lessened my anticipation, but rather the implication that it was just going to be another safe 2D platformer. For better or for worse, when Modern Sonic got a 2D game, they did something new to shake things up. Sonic Advance was a return to the tried and true 2D axe-to-axe formula that had been missing since Sonic 3 and Knuckles, so I can't hold it for being safe. But especially when the sequels down the line would do more to add features that would make them stand out. Advance 2 introducing the boost mode, and Advance 3 introducing the team-up pair mechanic that in my opinion really helps it stand out to this day with its gameplay loop. Sonic Rush introduced the boost formula gameplay and the trick system into 2D, and Rush Adventure added to that with its more, well, adventure-focused mechanics. New characters such as Cream, Blaze, Marine, and more were introduced with these games, and the Sonic continuity was expanded upon. I'm not saying that classic-style 2D games cannot, have not, and do not do this as well, however, it will always be to a lesser degree, especially with how Sega and Sonic Team appear to be handling Classic Sonic since the Classic Sonic Renaissance. When Classic Sonic made his return in Generations, he didn't come back exactly as he was. Now he's pudgier, smoother, rounder. Slight alterations were made to both his character and design in order for him to come off as more cute, while Modern Sonic now has to do most of the heavy lifting when it comes to the characteristics that make up the cool factor. Classic Sonic is the cute one who's silent and dashes about cutely when he gets a perfect score, while Modern Sonic is cocky and cool with an attitude. He does flashy flips and stuff in the air and breakdances when he gets a perfect score. It's like they took all of what Sonic was and split it in two between the two designs. I understand how I could just be coming off as a negative Nancy, so let me get to my point on how this divide dually divides the safeness of a classic Sonic game and the ambition of a modern game. There seems to be a yearning for classic Sonic to be the easier-going, newcomer-friendly, lighthearted, and simple side of the Sonic franchise, while Modern Sonic is the more serious, plot-centered, lore, and continuity-focused side of the series. Compare Superstars to Frontiers, and you'll get what I mean. And this is smart. I understand that from both a casual and corporate viewpoint, this is a smart decision and a potential net positive. My issue is how they've been going about it. When Superstars was revealed and the discussion on whether Classic Sonic should stay or go was the Sonic fan debate of the month, I did not get it at first. But the more I listened to people's takes and stances, the more I grew to understand and form my own thoughts on the matter, which leads me to what I'm about to get into now. Why the Classic/Modern Sonic split is dumb, and I hate it. No title card. We're too deep into the video for that at this point. Bad future editor Miguel. So because Classic Sonic appears to be more aimed toward a casual audience, the games seem to stick to the tried and true formula that is at the Classic Sonic brand's core, like they're afraid to deviate from it. We can't introduce too many new characters to the cast, that would complicate the lore. We can't have Shadow in a Classic Sonic game, that wouldn't make sense in the lore. Yet, introducing individual abilities with the Chaos Emeralds and a new animal species that transforms into a dragon is fair game. Why can't modern era original characters appear in classic Sonic games? What's wrong with Mighty and Ray getting modern designs and appearing in a modern Sonic game? They are perfectly fine bringing the Chaotix into the modern era, so why is it that Mighty and Ray are subject to the confines of the second dimension? It's so frustrating and silly seeing them practically gatekeep themselves from adding potentially engaging, fun features and characters in the games just because they're either a classic or modern Sonic game. It nearly comes off as an excuse at times more than a valid reason, especially to someone like me who has long put caring about the Sonic canon behind them. The Sonic canon is a mess. There is no need to retroactively act like it isn't, and sacrificing things that could make for more fun gameplay just to somewhat act like you care about the lore and canon is not something I can get behind. These limitations, these borders, they're the reason I personally can't stand the divide between classic and modern Sonic. Let's see, how long did it take for me to get to that point now? I get the feeling that Sega and Sonic Team are still trying to get a feel for what it is us fans actually want. Hey guys, we kinda don't like pace-breaking generic 2D platforming sections in our Sonic games. What's that? Delete all 2D sections in modern Sonic games? Not what I said, but okay. Also, getting just a little bit tired of seeing classic Sonic forced into modern Sonic games, so we'll place classic Sonic into its own universe! Again, not what we were asking for. It's like they see a commonly agreed upon critique and go about the most drastic ways of fixing it, when really a lot of the time they just end up overcorrecting. Hey, Sonic Heroes was a little bit too kiddie and lighthearted. Could we go back to having the tone that we had in the Sonic Adventure games? Shadow gets a gun! We'll give Shadow a gun! Hey, we kinda feel like over the last few years, the Sonic continuity is largely going ignored. Slam references to events in past Sonic games into every character's dialogue! Dude, can you actually just listen for a sec? Also, the comics are canon now! Wow, so, this video was kind of all over the place, huh? Sorry, but I had a lot of thoughts on the topic to cover, and I tried to do that in the most organized and nuanced way I could. In the end, as with most of my videos, the goal here is to create something of a platform where the topic can be discussed, so this is where your 2 cents come in. What are your thoughts on the divide between classic and modern Sonic? Are you completely fine with it and think I'm just an overthinking whiner? Is that subscribe button near my channel named Gray yet? Wink wink. Anyway, tired now. Can we get Sonic Rush 3? Please? Roll outro.